What did you say, George?
I said automobiles are a useless nuisance. Never amount to anything but a nuisance, and they had no business to be invented.
Hello, welcome to Film Reviews. All right, I'm clapping because I officially now have one subscriber to the channel. That's all I need to continue this wonderful show, to provide useful reviews of movies. If I can, at least connect with one person out there, I think that's a success, and I'm very happy to say we do have one subscriber at this point. So that is fantastic, and I don't know who it is. I don't know how to check that information. So whoever you are, please leave a comment and just say, hey, I subscribed because I like what you're doing or something. Is this mic set up right? Yes, it is. Okay. Today, we are going to review the wonderful, magnificent Ambersons film from 1942. And before I get into it, I read a biography book about Orson Welles, and they had a part about this movie in the biography. They talked about the making of, and it was a challenge for Orson Welles because he did not have final cut. The studio ended up changing the outcome of the final of the movie, so it ended in a way that Orson Welles did not like. So, yeah, and but you know what? I think the overall movie turned out pretty good. So let's get into it. Magnificent Ambersons. This is the second movie by Orson Welles right after the hit Citizen Kane, which at the time really wasn't that big of a hit. So he was just, but he had a picture deal, so he was ready to make this one. This is based on a book, a novel, a very well-known novel at the time, or at least it got recognition. Booth Tarkington or something wrote the novel, and the script was written by Orson Welles. Pretty much the best way I can explain it is it's a family named the Ambersons in the late 1800s, early 1900s, right before the car was invented. They are a very wealthy family, very well known in the community, and they are the Ambersons. And there's a friend of the family named Eugene, and he has a daughter named Lucy, and they're friends of the family. And there is this one Amberson kid named George, who is a troublemaker. He's a spoiled brat, and everyone, the family puts up with him. The mother puts up with him a lot, and she gives him whatever he wants, so he's super spoiled. But the community always says, like, oh, that George Manifer, he is going to get it one day. He's really gonna, get what's due to him. And that happens in the movie, actually. George, he falls in love with Lucy. But the problem is Lucy, her dad is this guy named Eugene, and he likes George's mother. And George is very upset about that. She's a married woman, has kids. Eugene was turned down in the early days by this woman, and as time goes by, he's still a family friend, still friendly with the family, still has feelings for this woman. Spoiler alert. So George's father dies. So the mother is widowed, and Eugene wants to marry her. But she decides not to because she doesn't want to upset George. And he's still a spoiled brat, and he's not going to let her marry this crazy Eugene character. Eugene is a inventor. He's trying to create a automobile, and it's going to really change society. It's going to be one of those things that changes society. This is at the time frame of this movie world is the horse and carriage is getting faded out into cars and people driving locomotives. Towards the end of the movie, George gets into a car crash. He gets hit by a car, or he's either in a car. I forget what happened. Something like where he's injured by a car. And Eugene feels really bad about this because he never wanted anyone to get hurt. And even though George has like a very bad attitude, he really never wanted him to get injured. What ends up happening is Lucy, she doesn't, marry George at all. Their relationship kind of splits apart because Eugene is so. There's also I forgot, the mother turns down Eugene to marriage. She says no, and then she takes her son George, and they go on a trip around the world, and but she comes back ill, and I think it's because of heartbreak. They don't really say in the movie, but it seems that way. She's heartbroken because she made a wrong decision in spoiling George so much. What I think this movie does really well is it really shows how what we have and what this family had, which was a lot of money and prestige, that's very temporary, and they lose that power over time, and they lose a lot of money over time, and it's just based on the way society is going and just how the times have changed, and they've just made some poor investments that really haven't gone anywhere. Also, there's choices that the characters make that affect them in the long term. They have personality traits that are damaging to the family, such as George being spoiled. He just has a bad attitude and just never gets married, never has a real girlfriend, because he's just so full of himself. Lucy never. I think Lucy looks at George as like a rich kid, and I don't think she relates to him very well. And she's very. She likes her father a lot and likes to support him. And George hates her father pretty much. And then, Eugene's character, he really doesn't go anywhere either. Like, he never gets married or anything. He's there. I think they just move away at the end. They just kind of travel away from the Ambersons. People start to die. The family starts to fall apart. Things are different. And, the things I liked about this movie, it kind of shows how people change. Based on people's choices, things change in life. Just because the Ambersons had a lot of wealth and knew a lot of people didn't mean their future was secure. Things happened. The horseless carriage was a good example of that. That was going away. People were buying cars, driving on the road. Whether they liked it or not, that's what society was doing. I thought the ending was pretty good because George ends up trying to change his personality, change the road he has been on. It was kind of an uplifting ending. When he got in the car wreck, he knew it was kind of a wake up call where he just felt bad about just the things he's done, and he wanted to be a different person. Orson Welles has said that he did not like the ending, and it was a much darker ending to the film. I actually thought this was a pretty good ending, and overall, really good movie. Really wonderful cinematography. Lots of long shots, long takes. There's a particular scene where George, played by Tim Holt, is eating some food, and it's a very long shot, maybe like 6 or 7 minutes long. And he's just eating so much food. His aunt is like freaking out, talking to him. And, well, not freaking out. She's just being like a babysitter. And I'm just surprised how much food he ate on screen. Like, I wonder if that was just one take. I mean, I wonder how many times they had to reshoot that. But it was a continuous take. It was pretty impressive. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are this movie's kind of like reading a book. I did try to read the book, actually. I only got through the first few chapters because it's a hard book to read. It's very descriptive, and I overall, this movie, the story, it feels like a soap opera. Most of the dramatic elements are from people's choices and their personalities. So it is one of those kind of movies. Not a lot of action, not a lot of explosions or things like that. There is a part where there's the car breaks down. That's kind of the most action in the film. But very much about dialogue, personality, things like that. I'm going to give this movie a solid 8.3 out of 10. I enjoyed watching the film. It has a certain kind of quality to it about the time period, and just the way I think it still relates today with the changing of time, and how things are really here today and gone tomorrow, even though it seems like a long time at some moments of life. Overall, good movie. Check it out if you can. Wonderful black and white photography. Thank you again for the one subscriber. Thanks anyone else out there who's listening who hasn't subscribed. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I can continue to bring you some wonderful reviews. That's the film review. Magnificent Ambersons, 1942. There you go.